To domesticate an animal means to cause them to come into alignment with your desire and your perspective. It's to train them to care what you think more than they do about their own personal gratification. What domestication is training an animal to come into alignment with you more so than their eternal perspective. Just like the child-parent relationship, the pet-owner relationship is designed to be a relationship of contrast. Meaning that if a child does not get a Snickers bar when it wants one, that's an aspect of not being free. So in the moment that that child does not get the Snickers bar which it wants, it is giving rise to the desire for more freedom. In the same way, an animal which experiences not being able to roam free experiences a level of not free. And in that experience of not being free, it gives rise to the desire of freedom. And so the universe lines up with that perspective and that desire and becomes more freedom. So in this animal's experience of being not completely free and being domesticated, it is adding to the expansion of this universe. Animals choose into the owner-pet relationship for the same reason that you would choose to come in as a child to a parent. It's because that perspective serves your expansion, the same way that the perspective serves their expansion. Every being in existence only comes into an experience which ultimately serves them. And really, in order to prepare animals, or children for that matter, for a society which is so often out of alignment, there needs to be some kind of training that takes place. The natural state of any being, most especially so animals, is the state of alignment. So it's only natural that if a society reflected aspects of non-alignment, that you would have to train an animal or a child out of alignment to have them fit into the society which currently exists. The way that you train and interact with animals ultimately dictates the amount of alignment they are going to maintain. In the same way that the way that you raise your children is going to dictate the degree of alignment which they are able to maintain. Like people, any being opts into a life because it serves their own expansion. The same eternal consciousness which creates you, which you are an extension of, is the same eternal consciousness which creates that which you see and call animal, and that which you see and call plant and mineral, and etc., etc. All beings are extensions of this eternal united consciousness. We are inseparable from that which we are calling animals because of this. We are merely experiencing a different expression in this life. So that same source energy is expressing itself in an animal form versus expressing itself in your form, which is a human form. We choose our different expressions, our different forms which we come into the physical dimension based on intention. The animal's intention is different than the human's intention, otherwise they would come in human form. The reason that it's so easy to love them and the reason that they are such good teachers is because animals are much more in the state of allowing than humans are. When they come into this physical dimension, they remain aware of their temporary nature. They also remain aware of their eternal consciousness which goes into who they are. So to an animal it feels much more like they're walking into a movie theater than us, where we buy into a reality which seems fixed. Animals do not attach to their singular identities in the same way that humans do. So they do not fear annihilation in the same way that humans do. For this reason they don't resist death and resist ailments and all of these kinds of things the way that humans do. When you look at the state of non-resistance, often you call it instinct or you call it primitive, when in fact it is a highly evolved state of being. Animals tend to stay in alignment with themselves, with their higher perspective, unless they are trained to do otherwise, which is why it is so natural for an animal, if you observe them, to gravitate towards what they enjoy and gravitate away from what they don't enjoy, without much resistance. Because of their ability to maintain this alignment, they are able to more closely match the perspective of their higher selves, of their eternal consciousness, and because of this, it is much easier for them to stay in a vibration of total allowing and acceptance and love. They do not harbor negative intentions, regardless of what is done to them. Animals in general are in the state of non-resistance because they come down with entirely different intentions for life. The animals that do not fill this bill that I have just described, you will notice, have been living with humans. And being the allowing beings that they are, the vibration of the humans in their life train them out of their natural alignment. They learn from their human counterparts the idea of not being free. They learn from the humans around them that what they want will probably not come to them when they want it. They learn to focus on and expect negative things, and then they gain weight or get cancer. Animals are amplifiers of your own vibrational state. That's why they magnify and reflect back to you the state of your own emotions. Animals, as we have said before, are in a state of allowing. This is super beneficial to them when they are allowing themselves to come into alignment with their own eternal perspective, which is what happens most of the time. But the same allowing is not so beneficial when they allow themselves to come into alignment with a human that is not in alignment. Depending on the species, they find it more or less easy to align their own energy with the energy of their owner, and then begin to look and act and reflect the emotional state of their owner. What Source is after is expansion. And expansion is realized through perspectives. So as far as Source is concerned, the greatest benefit is done by you experiencing as many perspectives as possible. This is why, in life after life, it would not serve you to come back in as only the perspective of that which is human. So you would choose instead, if you agreed, which you do, with Source's perspective, which is that expansion comes from multiple perspectives, you would choose to come in as animal, you would choose to come in as plant, you would choose to come in as mineral, you would choose to come in as anything that served to expand your perspective. This is why you have not just been human, you have also been animal. The animal kingdom in general offers an intense vibration of balance for the earth that we are walking upon and for our species as humans, because they are able to demonstrate what alignment looks like by example. The cat who lounges on a couch is in alignment. Unless he has been trained by humans to expect a negative interaction with a human, he looks at you when you walk in the room with utter acceptance, because he is in alignment with his eternal perspective. The perspective of total acceptance and love the cat is focusing at you from makes you feel good because it is such a powerful vibration. It causes you to come into alignment as well. So the cat just became your excuse to line up with who you really are. And your emotions began to indicate to you that you are more in a space of allowing and love as well. There are all kinds of things which we would consider a negative condition which cannot be a match to the state of allowing. So when you introduce a vibration of total allowing, the vibration of the negative condition can no longer exist. This is why therapy animals are so incredibly beneficial to people, and so incredibly beneficial to the people that they serve. What animals can do is to help you to come into alignment. They don't need their words to do this, neither do you really. They understand that by being the vibration of allowing, being the vibration of acceptance, and being the vibration of unconditional love, that is sort of like a calling, a magnetic calling for you to line up with that perspective and that state of being. And by doing that, they are teaching you into alignment, just by the presence of their vibration. It is possible to have pre-birth arrangements with animals. Because you came from the same eternal consciousness, quite often from non-physical perspective, you can make an agreement if you think that your expansion is going to be served by an interaction. And one of you will make an agreement to come in through the physical expression of a dog or a horse or a pig or a cat, and the other one will decide to come in as the expression of human, understanding that that interaction is going to serve both of your expansion. And so it's very, very common that when you meet an animal and you immediately resonate with it, that you have had some kind of a agreement like this before life. It is also highly likely, though, that when you get yourself more into the state of allowing, or you set off huge intentions and huge desires for where you want to be, an animal can be attracted into your experience even though you did not have a pre-birth contract, simply to be the teacher for you at that given time. Humans harbor a misconception about animals, however. Humans harbor the misconception that animals are selfless, when in fact they are some of the most self-gratifying beings that there are. This is not so bad as it sounds because animals are good at filling up their own cups. Many of you who watch my videos have heard me use the analogy of the cup. If you're filling up your own cup, if you're willing to go in the direction of self-gratification enough, your cup will be full, and then it's only natural for you to spill that affection and that love over towards other beings. Animals are so incredibly good at self-gratification and at filling up their own cups that it is only natural for them to extend that natural acceptance, that natural state of unconditional love towards others in their experience. And we look at that and call that selfless. People in general are so bad at filling up their own cups that it is rare to find a human who is able to be in the space of complete unconditional love. Animals, on the other hand, especially cats, are so good at filling up their own cups that it is rare to find one who is not in alignment and who is not projecting the energy of unconditional love.